Hello, hello, people of the internet. Great introduction. My name is Matt, and welcome to KAIJU CRUNCH, the YouTube channel where I'll be dedicating myself to reviewing and talking about all big monster and kaiju products and media. Movies, video games, anything I really want to talk about. The central topic will be big-ass monsters, because I'm a huge fan of kaiju and big-ass monsters. That's how it would be. So, Rampage is coming out tomorrow, worldwide, and I'm super excited. I'll be honest with you. I've been playing the Rampage games for a long time. This is Rampage 2 on N64. Couldn't find the first one as of now. I've beaten both of them by myself. It's a game for friends. But I just wanted to break stuff by myself. So I'm hugely into the source material, and I remember when a Rampage movie was announced, like, I don't know, it was like fucking years ago. It was like 5 years ago. If you go back and look at some gameplay footage of the game on YouTube comments, you can find people being like, I heard they were making a movie of this, and here we are years later. That's the movie. So from conception, probably got passed around a lot. People didn't really know what to do. Like, how do you make a Rampage movie of all things? You know what I mean? Like, it's such a wacky and crazy concept. In case you don't know, which you should, the game was, there's Scum Labs, and they took 3 people and they mutated them. In some continuity, one of them was a scientist, and doesn't matter. The point is, 3 people got mutated. George turns into a giant gorilla, Lizzie into a giant, like a lizard monster, like a Godzilla. I'll go into that for a second. And Ralph, who became a wolf. So it's basically like, oh, you kind of have a King Kong archetype, a Godzilla archetype, and then I got like a werewolf archetype. It's kind of like another monster that's popular. I know werewolves aren't giant, but I think that's what they were going for. By the way, Lizzie was my girl. Lizzie. I played as Lizzie. Naturally, when there were talks about all this stuff about a Rampage movie, I thought, you know, it's the video game movie curse. Like, what's the Mario Brothers, Street Fighter? Like, the best video game movie is Mortal fucking Kombat, and that movie is just funny. It's not like, and the sequels, cool, but the first Mortal Kombat movie isn't like a good Mortal Kombat movie. It's a pretty decent martial arts film. That's what makes it kind of fun to watch.
Those are $500 sunglasses, asshole.
So, naturally, we're gonna have, with this movie, we're gonna have, hopefully, what I would like is that it doesn't take itself too seriously. Now, when you watch the trailer, they're definitely going with, like, how do I say this? Not a serious tone, but a very real tone. Like, there's definitely, like, instead of just having it be like, giant monsters are destroying the city, it's George and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which we'll talk about. They have a bond together. They are connected, and the other characters seem to get swept up into it as well. With I don't know if it is Scum Labs or the scientists they're mutating the monsters. It should be really cool to see. So naturally, with this serious and more stern tone, that it seems to be a little bit campy as well. Like, there's certain moments in the trailer. All of a sudden, Lizzie shows up in the trailer right at the end. The Rock says, you know, I was gonna say the only thing missing here is a giant lizard.
I was just thinking the only thing that's missing right now is a giant crocodile.
And of course, the recent trailer shows Ralph has wings, or like gliding wings.
Of course, the wolf flies.
Which, hey, I'm cool with, honestly. You know what? It's totally fine by me to take the property. It's still giant monsters breaking the city. And it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, honestly. As I said, I'm a huge fan of the characters. I'm a huge fan of the franchise. And you got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at the front. Now, look, I'll just be honest. I'd take a bullet for that, man. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a great action star. He was a great personality in WWE. He's very charismatic. And someone like him you need for a movie like this. Because, like I said, you don't want it to take itself too seriously, even though they're going for a serious tone. It seems like there's going to be jokes, there's going to be one-liners, but at the same time, I think we're going to have to try and connect with Dwayne and George. George is definitely, they're putting as front and center as the main good character. The main good monster. He's definitely going to fight the other two monsters. Like, that's going to be obvious. And that's what we want to see. We want to see the monsters fight. We don't just want to see them destroy the world and the planets and then go through time, but we don't talk about that game. Why don't we talk about some of the redesign decisions? I know me and my buddy were talking about that, and he wished that they looked more like they do in the game, but honestly, the reason why they looked, and if you go back to the original arcade game, the reason why they looked like that in the arcade game was so that no character was too different from the other. You could just put in a quarter and play as Ralph, and you didn't have to worry about, like, well, George is better, George has better stats, George is, or this, or Lizzie is better at whatever. It was made just so you could just pick one, doesn't matter. And then they made them all humanoid, probably because it was easier for sprite detail. And I will say I like the more humanoid designs that the later games had, but for a movie like this, I actually kind of like this as well. I think that there's nothing wrong with taking that, like, it's still Lizzie, it's still Ralph and George. Well, George is just a gorilla anyway. George looks great. They made him white instead of brown, which is kind of cool. Just to give him, I guess, maybe a little bit of contrast with some of the other monsters, like, so he's lighter than Ralph. Maybe it's easier to see him instead of two big brown things colliding. You know, might be better. Yeah, Lizzie's redesign. Obviously, I said before, I played as Lizzie. Lizzie was my girl. I like it still. Still looks, you know, giant crocodile, but now she's, you know, it's cool to reinvent characters like that when it doesn't take away from what they do, as far as I'm concerned, and it's not too distracting. Like, this just giant monsters punching stuff. I'm okay with Lizzie being a giant mutated crocodile, as long as that's what Lizzie is, you know? And Ralph now having wings and, like, gliding. I mean, in the original games, if you kept pressing A, or in the N64 games, not the original one, they would flap their wings. I don't know. Just saying, like, don't take this too seriously, right, guys? Like, I think the character designs, I think they look great. I'm really excited to see. Overall, I haven't been excited for a movie in a long time. Like, I'm pretty cynical when it comes to movies. Ironically enough, I love Godzilla movies because of how cheesy and fun they are. There's a certain level of, like, yeah, you know, to them. They're, like, energy, and, like, you just kind of have to laugh at some of the zanier aspects of that. But when it comes to this Rampage movie, I haven't been excited for a movie like this in a long time. And it's going to be a B-movie, action, explosions, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, George, Lizzie, Ralph. I don't know. Basically, what I hope when I walk out of the theater, I don't want it to be this fantastic movie. I want it, if it has 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, that's 100% for me. That's all I want. I don't want another art film. I don't want another, you know, zany adventure. I want it to be campy, cheesy, and all around a good time. Now, I know other kaiju fans, maybe they disagree. Maybe they can tell me what they want to hear. I would love to start a discussion about this, and make sure if you like this video and you like this style of video, this was completely improv because I want to put this out before Rampage comes out. Obviously, I am working on a Megalon vs. Godzilla review, so if you like kaiju related stuff, I would say subscribe to my channel. More on the way. And maybe I'll do a playthrough of Rampage and Rampage 2. That'd be a fun thing to do, so I hope you guys have an awesome day, and let's, you know, let's break some shit. Let's get hyped up for this movie. Make sure you guys see it. Make sure you see it. Have a good time, and have a good night. Thank you. Goodbye. I'm gonna go this way now. God damn it. No. God damn it.